Personalizing or transforming furniture doesn't have to cost you hundreds. Fix This staffer Patty Dennis shows us how to take your furniture to the next level. Blanket-style scarves for less than the price of a latte.
How to give your home a lift, replacing something you may not think of right away.
Welcome to Fix This. I'm Vita along with her cat. We got Kayleen, we got Becky, and we got fall. We've got leaves, we've got scarves, and we got pine cones. Because you could go around your yard and pick up some pine cones because that's just kind of part of fall. So we've got a project at the very end to talk about pine cones, and then you decide whether it's a project you'd like to do, but it involves pine cones. And then along with pine cones come leaves.
A lot of cool different things that you can do with just the stuff you have in your own backyard, like those beautiful fall leaves you have. Believe it or not, I made a bowl out of these guys. I will show you exactly how to get it done.
It's so cute.
Using our friend Mod Podge.
And a balloon.
And these scarves I've been seeing pop up around stores everywhere. They're called blanket scarves, and they can cost you about $20 to $40, but I'm going to show you how you can make one for less than $10.
That's a beautiful scarf, too.
Very expensive, too. Yeah. You buy them online or in the store. I was like, so she made me one, and I'm very happy.
Ooh, very
The key is picking the right fabric.
Well, speaking of budgets, though, I know I talked about replacing doorknobs a while ago, but if you also replace your hinges, it will keep the consistent look with the update. So I'm showing a very inexpensive and quick way to replace your hinges. You don't even have to take the door off or to pin out.
Yes, that's what everyone's so afraid of. They don't want to change out their hinges because they think they have to take their door off. But you're a genius.
Well, your success does hinge upon it. Yes. So now we're going to go over to the Fix This workshop where Patty Dennis is going to show us how to transfer images onto furniture.
Have you noticed shabby chic is the latest craze out there? There's some really cool furniture that's out there right now. We grabbed these images off Pinterest, but don't go to a furniture store and buy these. If you have an inkjet printer, the rest of the supplies are super easy to find. Our own Fix This expert, Patty Dennis, has been working on this project for a few days, and you're really excited about what you found.
I am, because I've been wanting to do this for so long, and I didn't know how, if I had to paint it. I tried to buy a stencil, too expensive. This is so easy and so cheap. So we were able to do a table, which I actually picked up at a thrift store. Nice. We did a small tray. We've done some other furniture, so let's get to it. The first thing you need is to paint a piece of furniture, and I painted antique white because I think that's a great color, especially with the black ink on the jet printer. Then you go to a website called graphicsfairy.com, and they have free printable, downloadable images in that kind of French country look.
Okay.
Then you get a piece of wax paper, which is crazy that wax paper will transfer this, but it really does, and it's super easy. Once you've torn off your wax paper, take your printer paper from your printer and cut your wax paper slightly smaller than your printer paper, and I'm just going to mark it off here.
And the line doesn't have to be exact.
No, it really doesn't.
It's smaller anyway.
Right, and so you just kind of line it up. Take a pair of scissors, you kind of get the gist of it. I'm going to cut this, but the wax paper, try to keep it from wrinkling. That was one problem I had, so that your design, once it's printed on the wax paper, comes off clean with all the letters showing.
I would assume that would make it go easier through the printer too.
Well, it doesn't. So I first tried this, putting the wax paper into the paper tray of the printer, and it worked one time beautifully, and the next 12 times it got eaten by the printer. So after I suffered through that, I decided to tape it to a piece of the printer paper, and that actually made it go much better. So I would take tape across the top, try to make sure that you've locked it down so that it's not going to get caught in the printer. And another thing I learned is the cheaper the printer, actually the better it does. So if you have the home printer, that's probably the best place to do this. Doing it at the office in an industrial or business printer, probably not a great idea. So here's what it looks like. You put it at the top of your printer tray with the wax paper side up, if that's the way your printer prints. In my printer at home, the wax paper went down because it rolled through the printer this way. When it prints out, when you pick your design, it's going to come out like this.
Oh,
and this is actually backwards because you can print these images in reverse so that when you're ready to put it onto your piece of furniture, it actually spells out in the right direction.
Does the website do that for you?
This particular website does.
Okay.
It will reverse the image for you. But there are some other websites that you can go to which will reverse an image for you, or sometimes your own computer programs will do that. So once it comes off the printer, wait about 15 seconds. You want the ink to be wet, but not drippy wet.
Okay.
And then you take your wood surface. In this case, we have a little plaque that you can hang on the wall. And here's one that we did earlier. And so you put it down onto your surface, you know, very carefully putting it exactly where you want it. And here's the trick. You take a credit card or something plastic that's, you know, kind of got a hard, and you just start working it slowly. You just work on the ink. And you're just moving it across. Careful not to tear the paper. Keep working it. And I did it slow enough so that I knew I got every letter.
Okay.
And once you finish that, you're going to take it off, and you're going to end up with designs on your furniture. Hey, Vita.
It looks so good.
I disappeared.
I loved how you just came in.
Interested in this.
I just so love this stuff. So it's French country. I think you'd pay a fortune in a store for it.
Oh,
You can do it yourself with wax paper, a printer, and free images on the Graphics Fairy website. So there's no reason not to try it.
Why not?
Use the off-white paint. I think next time I'm going to try painting something dark and printing with a color printer, see if I can get some white images or light gray. But I've just so enjoyed this, and we'd love to know what kind of projects you do in terms of printing. I think we got some, didn't we?
Well, yeah, we have a lot of wonderful things. You know, when you're done making this shabby chic bench, you can start your Thanksgiving decorations. And so we sent out a call this morning. Many of you are already at it, getting ready for Thanksgiving. And this one right here is from Stacy, and it's a hand-sewn fabric flower centerpiece. So beautiful, and it's amazing. Like whenever we put out a call, how crafty everybody is at home. This is Andrea, a DIY fall wreath and leaf garland right over there. It looks a little shabby chic also there too. Very beautiful. We also have Ruth. She said she made this for their RV, reversible, so it has a dual purpose. How cute is that? So we got just so many of these. We also want to hear from you as well. Just go to 9news.com/fixthis, and we're going to share all week long on our Facebook page. You can also tweet us using the hashtag #FixThis. We're getting a lot of pictures of those Thanksgiving table settings, so share yours, and we might actually end up featuring some of yours on next week's episode. So we have all the information you need to do it yourself that Patty just talked about, especially that website. I'm interested in that website.
Yeah, that's a key step because it's great designs.
Okay, 9news.com/fixthis. Great job, Patty.
Does the look of your house hinge on everything matching? If so, when you change out those doorknobs, like we showed you a few weeks ago, you're going to need to make some other changes too. But it's really not that tricky. And later, want a standout centerpiece for your holidays? Create your own decoupage bowl with fall leaves.
Welcome back to Fix This, presented by Home Advisor, the free and easy way to find the best home pros.
Are you looking for help with your Fix This project? Home Advisor's project advisors are taking calls now to help you find the right pro to get your project done. The call-in number is 1-800-503-0119.
Hi guys, Vita here again with Kayleen. And hi.
Hello.
A couple weeks ago, a few weeks back, we showed you how to change out your doorknobs, and that was actually a really popular segment.
Super easy, really low cost, but the reality is after you do your doorknobs, you still have the hinges that don't match.
But the one problem that I know a lot of people complain about, they don't want to change their hinges because they don't want to take the door off.
Yeah, it can be a very daunting process. So I'm going to show you a very, very easy way to switch out your hinges without wasting your time and making it too much work.
You have a secret solution.
I have many secret solutions. Yeah.
Show us.
Yes, all right. Before you actually start to redo your hinges, what I suggest is taking off just the middle one on the door and taking it to your big box store. That way, you know that they're going to fit. So, take the middle one off, go to your big box store, and make sure it matches the profile and size. If you get something different, you can still add it on, but it will require a little bit more work. So after I get the new hinges. I'm going to replace them one at a time. This will make it so that you don't have to take the door off of the hinge. And I'm just going to put the new hinge back on. The hole should line up from where the hinge before was at. And just reattach it with the new screws that are provided. You want to make sure the screws are flush so when the hinge closes, you get a nice tight close. And then that's it. I'm just one at a time going to replace the rest of the hinges.
So that looks fabulous. I love how it matches. It looks almost like brand new.
Yeah, brand new, around 5 minutes, $12 in cost, makes everything match and look brand new. Now, if the hinges are different, you might need to do a little bit chiseling, or if you want to rehang a door, I'd suggest contacting Home Advisor. They have advisors who can connect you with the right carpenter to do the job properly.
Okay, of course, we're putting all this information plus the tips on 9news.com/fixthis. And of course, we are getting so many viewer questions. Jacob Monique asked what to do if the hole is stripped from the old one, and that is a question for Kayleen.
That is a really good question. So if you've gone through too many times and you find that the hole doesn't fit anymore, you can do a few things. Toothpick is obviously one of them. I'd add a little bit of glue in there too. But really, if it's getting too bad and it doesn't fit anymore, you can look at a different screw pattern for your hinges, or you might need to do a replacement of your jamb. If it's that extent, you need to actually contact a professional. So yeah, that's about it. There are a lot of different fun things to do, but stay tuned because there's a lot more fun stuff coming up on Fix This.
When it comes to trendy clothes, these blanket scarves won't quit. But you don't need to spend designer prices. I'm going to show you how to make them yourself.
And capture your own fall memories forever. How to make this bowl for your holiday table.
Hi guys, Vita along with Raquel. We're at our DIY studio, and I was talking to Raquel the other day. She's been wearing these really cute sweater scarves, and I was like, oh, I love that. Where'd you get that one? She's like, I made it. So looking all hip.
Well, thank you. Just like my t-shirt totes that you were a big fan of, I'm going to show you how to make these scarves too. And usually they're like $20 to $40 at the stores.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you can get them at the fabric store, but you just have to get the right fabric for it.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you exactly what you need. So what you're going to want to make sure to do is look at your material and make sure when you flip it over you can see the same material, because some cloth you can see the white edge and you don't want that. You want to make sure it's completely flannel. And then the next thing you're going to want to look for is that it's woven.
Okay.
So you need to make sure it's woven so that it's a no-sew scarf, so you can just put it together yourself and you don't have to worry about busting out a sewing machine. So in order to do that, you just take a look at it, like look at the little fibers in there and make sure they go horizontally and vertically. Now that we have the fabric, we're gonna wanna make sure that it's even, and if it's not, you're gonna wanna take your scissors and you're gonna wanna cut off any uneven edges. And it should be pretty even if it's from the fabric store, but you know, sometimes they miss it by just a little bit. So I'll cut that out. And now that we have it the way we want it to look.
Well, and it helps with the plaid because it almost like it has the lines.
Yes, it helps line it up.
Yes. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut mine right here.
Okay.
Right along that.
Perfect.
That help?
Yes, that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
All right.
All right.
Cut that off.
Now that it's all cut off, we're going to have to do the second process. You take the material and you make sure it's going to pull out these threads to make sure it doesn't unravel or fray up, so you can wear it over and over again and not have tiny sweater by the time you're done with it. Like, you know, when like a sweater gets caught and it just keeps unraveling. You have a little tiny scarf at the end. To do that, you're going to need a push pin or a sewing pin. And then you're going to want to reach into the woven layer and pull out the thread. And you can go in as much as you want, a few centimeters, ½ inch if you get really ambitious. And you just keep pulling and pulling till you get to the very edge. And once you do, you just cut off the excess thread. And once you're done with that, you have yourself a scarf.
So now that we finished it, here's your finished product. Here's what it's gonna look like in different styles. This one cost us $5.
Oh, wonderful.
And we have all the instructions on 9news.com/fixthis, including ways you can wear the scarves like we're gonna show you right now. Twist it, pull those edges down, yeah.
There we go.
Gonna make it a fancy there. All right, perfect.
And fall leaves have amazing color, texture, and shapes. We're going to show you how to turn them into something more sophisticated than just a simple bouquet.
Welcome back to Fix This, presented by Home Advisor, the free and easy way to find the best home pros.
Are you looking for help with your Fix This project? Home Advisor's project advisors are taking calls now to help you find the right pro to get your project done. The call-in number is 1-800-503-0119.
Believe it or not, making a bowl out of the leaves from your own backyard is a lot easier than it sounds. You'll need, of course, the leaves, a balloon, Mod Podge, a sponge, and scissors. First, you're going to apply that thin layer of Mod Podge over your balloon, and then apply another layer of Mod Podge on the bottom of your leaf. And do this especially, do a lot of it if you've got really veiny leaves. Then apply another layer of that Mod Podge on top of the leaf and repeat that process as you add leaves onto the balloon. You'll want to make sure those leaves go all the way about a quarter of the way down the balloon, and then stack a few more for the bottom of the bowl to give it some weight so it stands up. And this is what it looks like once it's all completely dry.
That is awesome.
Very nice.
The Mod Podge basically preserves your leaves. The harder part really is going to make sure once the balloon is in, you're going to have to pop the balloon very carefully so you can let out the air slowly. I was not very successful with that. There might have been a few bloopers that will be listed at the end of the show from that experience, but once it all dries, which you give it a few hours, it stands up perfectly. You can add some candy to your bowl. And it's a great project that you could either do by yourself or with your kids. It works out really well, I thought.
And it holds up the candy too, so it passes the candy test.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. You know, and we also spend a lot of time trying to find stuff on Pinterest to try out and see if it works. And not everything is going to be a fix. We're going to come across some things that kind of work out, kind of don't. And a recent bleach pinecone project Patty tried out, it kind of, well, she'll tell you the results, Patty.
Well, it kind of worked. So they looked beautiful as we looked at them on the websites, but I tried them several batches, and so here's what I learned. You need Clorox, or not Clorox, any kind of bleach will work, and a bucket. And then, of course, go in the yard and get pine cones, which there were many in my yard. And then you put the pine cones into the bucket full of the bleach, right? And they float. And that's kind of a problem because they're not taking enough bleach. So take something heavy. I took a Pyrex and dumped it into, and so now all the pine cones will stay under the bleach for 24 hours. And here's kind of what we came up with. While not white, they did lighten up a little bit. So I call this a half flop.
Yeah, they still
It wasn't
look nice.
a total flop, but a kind of a half flop. So the little blonde ones and then the natural colored ones. And you could make a wreath out of them. You could do a lot of things with pine cones, as everybody does during the holidays. I put them in a candle holder with some Christmas ornaments and made a table decoration out of them. So
I love it. Good job, Patty.
that's
Yeah.
a fix or a flop. It's kind of a half flop.
It looks lighter on camera than it does off. And we were talking about the scarves too. You can, it's not only for gals, those wonderful scarves you made.
Yes, we have a scarf for a man too, and we're gonna have our Scott Gill come over here.
Our man.
Our man.
Our
Scott
man.
Gilman.
You can always just lay it out like this, put it around, oop, sorry there, and just twist it. And then you can just layer it with a coat. And it's a great gift for guys too.
Perfect.
Now he's styling.
Looks good.
Do you feel stylish?
Nice look for work.
You can go strut around in that now.
Strut through the studio.
There you go. So, well, thank you so much for watching Fix This. I love all these ideas. And I know you were worried that this was a flop at one point. Patty spent about 2 months working on these pine cones, I have to tell you. But
So if you've been able to do it a different way, we want to hear from you. Go to 9news.com/fixthis if you have a pine cone bleaching technique that we didn't come up with.
all right. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Bye.
It really
really does look so much better on
I
TV.
feel like a sailor, Vida. Are you sure it needs to be this long?